everyone, and this is BioPhoenix here, and today we're going to be taking a look at a game on the NES, and that happens to be Arkistas Ring. And it was developed and published by American Sammy. And in case you don't know much about the company American Sammy, they are actually now known as Sega Sammy Holdings. So they merged with Sega in 2004. Although clearly this game came out way before the merger, since this game came out in 1990 only in North America. Yeah, not even Japan got this. And this game is considered as an action-adventure, although I personally think of it more as a action puzzler. And I'll get to why in a bit. So first, let's take a look at the story, which will take no longer than 1 minute. So it begins in the land of Arkista. There is a ring that has been stolen by the evil Shogun. Oh noes! So all the land has gone to shit, and the only one that's left is an elf warrior named Christine, and she's the only one that has hope to save everyone else, and yada yada yada, we all heard it all fucking before. So yeah, I think I covered that less than 30 seconds. Well anyways, now let's moving on and start talking about the gameplay. So this game has a top-down view, and all the level designs are very maze-like. And you get an inventory at the bottom corner, and then you also get some hearts, and okay, yeah, this game is starting to look exactly like Zelda. But this game does not exactly play like Zelda, and I'll explain in a bit. So the main objective to this game is that you gotta clear out all the enemies, and you also gotta find a key, and once you get the key, then you get to go to the gate or to the next area. So everything is divided up in stages, and let me tell you, there is a shitload in here. So it's not really like Zelda because it's not an open world game. And because everything is done in stages and you gotta collect items and such, this game actually plays kinda sorta like Adventures of Lolo. So I'd say it's like a mixture between Zelda and Adventures of Lolo. So instead of fighting with a sword in this game, you actually use a bow. And every time you kill an enemy in this game, they drop a bag that can drop any sort of item. So some of the things they can drop would either be health, armor increased, weapon improvements, or even some magical items. And some of these magical items would either blow up everything on the field, fire arrows which allow you to shoot through walls, or make all the enemies on screen freeze for a few seconds. So it's a very simple game to understand, just gotta get the key, get to the door, and get to the next stage. Simple stuff. So now let's start talking about the controls. And I think they're quite good and quite responsive. So moving around and attacking is very easy to figure out, and when you press the B button it opens up your inventory, and when you press A in your inventory then you get to use that item. Very simple and easy to understand. I really don't have any complaints about the controls whatsoever. So now let's get moving on to the other things like the graphics. And I find the graphics for this game are alright. I wouldn't say they are great considering the time when this game was made in 1990, but there are a couple areas that do look kinda nice, mostly being the green areas. And all the sprites are alright, nothing mind-blowing, but they are at least recognizable even though they are very small looking. So I don't think it's a bad looking game, but I also don't really think it's a great looking one either. It just looks kind of alright for NES standards. But if there is one thing I will say that does look nice with this game is the box art. Now obviously this doesn't really mean shit about the game. I mean, you can really have like an ugly looking box and it doesn't change the fact that the game is going to be good or bad, but this box art though just looks really freaking good. In fact, I talked about this on my favorite video game box arts on the NES. So yeah, I just had to mention that one, but either way, graphically in this game, they're just alright. So now, as for the game's music, I do kinda like the music in this game. I do find some of the songs in this game are kinda catchy and do suit the game very well. But probably my favorite theme within the game would probably have to be the Labyrinth theme. I don't know what it is, but I just really like it quite a lot. But with all the good things that I'm saying about the music in this one, it's not even close to being some of my top favorite NES soundtracks, unfortunately. But I still like it enough to say that I do think it is quite good. So now, if you want to buy this game, the lowest I've seen this game for as of right now is $30. And of course, these are loose cards since the complete in box ones are much more. And this is not a game that I see around too often, although I've only seen it like twice, but that wasn't even in my area. So the very first time I've seen this game was actually at a convention, and that was when I bought the game. And the second time I've seen it was at a store around my old area, so it wasn't even close to where I live right now. So yeah, as of right now, $30 might seem a little bit much, but at the same time, at least it's not super outrageous like something like $80 to $100, thank God. But of course, I always have to mention this, is that whenever you don't feel like wanting to pay the price for this kind of game, at least there are other options to play it. So now, let's get moving on to my overall thoughts on this game, and honestly, I think this game is a pretty decent game. So the one thing I gotta say first is that a lot of people say this is a Zelda clone, and I don't fully think it is, but of course it does look like one. Because yes, it looks like Zelda, the control style is kinda like Zelda, but the overall mechanics on how the game works and how you progress and such actually plays more like Adventures of Lolo. But as good as those two game series are, unfortunately this one is not nearly as good as those, but I do think it is pretty decent enough. So one of the main reasons why I find this game is not nearly as good is that most of the game is pretty damn easy. Although the one stage with the ninja jumping all over the place is pretty damn annoying, and the final boss did take me a couple of tries to actually do it. But the other thing that does kind of lacking about this one is that after you beat the final boss, it seems like it's over, but then you realize that there's another stage after that, and that next stage looks exactly like the first one. So in other words, they recycle older levels to a certain point, and it looks like that you have to beat the game multiple times, because you wanna know how many stages there are in this game? There's 125. So it is kind of unfortunate that they don't have 125 original stages, they just have to recycle some of the older ones. So yeah, it's really unfortunate that compared to games like Adventures of Lolo, it does lack quite a few things within the puzzles. But don't get me wrong, I don't think this is a bad game. In fact, I kind of like the idea where it's like a puzzle game where you actually have like an inventory with usable items and such. And I did enjoy my time playing it for the first run, but after it recycled, I kind of just got tired of it. But at least this game is not nearly as brutal as Ghosts and Goblins, because can you imagine playing a game like that with 125 stages? Yeah, that would just drive anybody nuts. But overall, I find that Arkistas Ring is decent at best, and I would say it is worth emulating first, since this game is kind of uncommon. So with that being said, I kinda like this one, but it's definitely not amazing, and it kinda seems like a lot of the games I've been taking a look at recently are just decent at best, but either way, that will be the end of this review, so thank you for watching and commenting, and have yourselves a great day.